Welcome, guys, to another episode. From the last one, we were talking about play parties. This one, we want to talk about just agreements and rules and whatnot. Right here, I'm going to let you take it away. So, do your thing. Let's do this.
Okay. So I think we want to talk a little bit about rules or guidelines that are set up at a play party. Those are usually set up and gone over by the host of the event or hostess, and generally they're the same. We talk about consent, which means that you don't touch another person unless you've gotten a verbal consent that they're agreeing to that. You try and be specific about what you're asking for so that everyone's on the same page and we all understand what's happening and we understand what we're agreeing to, and we feel safe in making those agreements because we know you're not going to push or go beyond what we've agreed to. So those kind of things. Boundaries are an important piece of information. Play parties are a wonderful place to explore your own needs and your own boundaries, but you can only do that if you feel safe. So keeping the safe space so that everyone can express themselves and ask for what they need is extremely important. It's probably number one.
Yes.
Right?
That definitely is.
There's some other rules. It's going to depend on your host or hostess, what they have, but those are some good guidelines. We often go over safer sex speeches from Reid Mihalko and different things like that, but I think that's a good place to start. And what I would say is that if you go to an event and there's no opening circle or there's no set of agreements, that you just want to be thoughtful and safe and feel safe in that space so that you know what's happening. And then there's agreements, and then agreements are if you happen to be in a partnership or in relationship with another person and you're going to this event, whether you're going with or without them, you want to make sure that you both understand what's happening and you both understand what you've agreed to. There are times, depending on the nature of your relationship and what you go to, because not everyone that goes to a play party is actually in an open relationship. Some people aren't. So they might have their own set of rules. Maybe they're going because they want to experience voyeurism or they want to experience exhibitionism, but that doesn't necessarily mean they plan to participate with anyone else there. So you need to make sure you understand what your agreements are with your partner. And I'm going to actually give a little example of that. So the first time that, is it okay if I disclose this?
Hey, do it.
Okay.
Wait, lens. You're like, okay, YouTube technique, always look at the lens, never the viewfinder. Lens. Anyways, sorry. Anyways.
Yeah, you're teaching me how to do this.
Hey, we all gotta learn somehow.
Yeah, and I don't even like having my photo taken, so this is fun. So the first time we went to a party together as a couple, it was actually the first time I'd ever gone to a play party as a couple because I had always been single prior. And we had a little conversation before, because of course I know you should have a conversation and you should be clear about your agreements. And Ryan had never been, so he wasn't familiar with any of this. He wasn't familiar with any of the conversation or the context. But
I thought I was going to a sex party.
Yeah, so we had a conversation, and I let him know that the only thing that would probably really make me uncomfortable is that if he were kissing other people, because to me kissing is very personal, and he didn't hear me, and so after the event started, it just so happens that I turned around and he was locking lips with somebody else in the room, and that was very difficult for me. I actually almost left the party because I got a little triggered, and we kind of had to work through that and then talk about it afterwards and process that. And so now we try to do a much better job of making sure that we're both clear when I say blue, that I'm talking about indigo and I'm not talking about turquoise, so that we avoid pitfalls if we can. And we also talk about those limits. I mean, recently we've been talking about
Kind of reopening up the relationship.
Right, yeah, because we had closed our relationship for a little while, and reopening it up at play parties specifically. And Ryan's been able to express to me that although he enjoys when we play together and he wants to invite me in, that he doesn't want to feel, if there's someone that he wants to play with that I'm not really that interested in, he doesn't want to feel like shut down, and he wants to have the right to be able to pursue that on his own.
And I almost feel like this is very common for people who are in non-monogamous relationships, the difficulty of speak up for what you want. And that's a part of the agreements. You have to speak up for what you want, not for the other person's sake. Because how can they grow? How can they really get to know you and accept you for what you are if you can't speak up for what you want? And plus, that's a way of loving yourself, If you can't love yourself, how can you love the other person?
Right.
So it's a lot of things.
And you negotiate, this is all part of this. You guys are probably far more experts on open relating polyamory than we are. But this is, there's negotiation, those are things. But the point is that when you get ready to go to an event that is going to be an engagement event and other people are going to be there, that as a couple that you understand your agreements together so that you can avoid unnecessary paperwork.
Yeah. In fact, I remember the second play party I went to. I remember this being mentioned at the first play party. If you have agreements, do not change them upon having fun at the play party. Just don't. There'll be more play parties. You'll hear this over and over at many play parties. If you don't, be worried. But most cases, you should not change your agreements once you're at the play party.
You can do it later, and then you can go to another party later.
Yeah,
there's always more parties.
That's what the discussions are for. Like, like, hey, baby, I thought about, seeing this, lady, and I was just like looking at her. I was thinking about maybe I should go up to her and get her number. Is that fine? And if she says no, I'm like, okay, why not? That's when the conversation, filters out instead of me just saying, you know what, baby, I remember our agreement was this, but oh my God, I gotta go. You just ghost. That's definitely not a good idea at all.
It's really a learning lab in many ways, or it's a learning lab. It's an opportunity for you to learn about you, and you to learn, if you happen to be in a coupleship, you to learn as a couple. So you want to take your time, take it easy, let things unfold, be kind to yourself, love love your partner, and love the other people that are there too, because they all, just like you, they have their own things they're working on. Yep.
Well, if anything else, guys, thanks for listening to a part of what we have developed for our own agreements. And, hopefully this will give you guys some value about how to develop your own agreements and what are going to be the things that you guys discuss before and after a play party. But if anything else, we're going to go on to the next episode. So stay tuned, guys, and thank you for watching. Peace.
Good night.